Hi there, you guys. Welcome to the Naturally Present Life Show. It's Heather McGregor coming to you again from British Columbia, Canada. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope that you had a chance to check out episode 1, and I'm very excited to be here with you this evening. It is evening time for me here. The special guest that I am bringing in this evening is actually coming in from Thailand. So I'm here on my Tuesday evening, and our special guest will be coming in on his Wednesday morning. So super exciting. And just before we dive into that, I wanted to ask if you are watching this. This is a brand new channel, and I'm just getting started. So if you have a listen and you like what I have to say, I'd really appreciate a like or a comment, or let me know that you're here. If you have any particular topics that you'd like me to cover in this show, please let me know. You can reach out by email, heather@naturallypresent.com, or just leave a comment, and I'd love to hear from you. Just to give me a little bit of feedback, let me know if what I'm doing is actually valuable and of help to anyone out there. So just before I bring our guest on, I also wanted to speak a little bit about a conversation that I had last night. I was invited by Ken McConnell, who's a counselor here in Maple Ridge. He runs Free to Be Counseling. And we had, on an Instagram Live, we had a great conversation around the difference between mindfulness and meditation. And I think those are really important distinctions to make. So I wanted to just kind of bring that topic up for us here this evening, just for a few minutes. And I'll start off by saying that mindfulness is really a simple way to think of that is, what is your mind full of? Mindfulness, your mind is full. So it's where you're putting your attention. It's about the presence that you bring to whatever it is you're engaging with, whether it's sitting in silence in a meditation, or whether it's being active and engaging, having conversation, cooking a meal, going for a run, doing your work, whatever it is. It's really about where you're allowing your attention to focus and learning to detach from being pulled around by the ongoing thoughts that are happening and cycling in our brains. The mental energy that's often spinning around as we're interacting and engaging in the world. It's being able to detach from being pulled by them and being directed by that, but rather you directing consciously the flow of your mental energy and consciously choosing what it is you want to put your focus on. And I think there's a lot of power that comes when you are consciously choosing, and that really helps to inform the action that you're then going to take in your day. So if you have, let's say, a really easy example, if you want to eat healthier, you want to lose some weight or get healthier or get more fit, something like that, and you have some subconscious programming and habits about, eating late at night, it can be really difficult to change those habits unless you choose to change the focus of where your mind is at. And breaking habits is a whole other conversation we'll get into in a different episode. But for now, just to be aware that mindfulness is really about where you're putting your attention. And meditation is the vehicle or the tool that you use to build up that awareness muscle, to build up your mindfulness. You take the time out of your day to sit with your eyes closed or lay down or stand, or as for many of you who follow me, you know that I'm all about breaking down the myths of what meditation should look like, what the desired outcome should be, how you should be sitting, what you're wearing, none of that matters. But whatever your practice is, the commitment to practicing your meditation is really about strengthening your awareness so that you can be more mindful as you go about interacting in your day-to-day life. So I just wanted to talk real briefly about that, but now I'm super excited to invite our guest in. It looks like he's just jumped online. I'm just going to bring him in. He's coming. Oh, I think he's online. Are you here with us?
I am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you see me?
Oh, now I can see.
There we go. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. Top of the morning to you.
Top of the morning to you, sir. I'm just looking to see if I can. There we go. Gallery view. There we go. I like to see us side by side.
Oh, how do you do that?
Gallery view.
Gallery. I'll find it later.
I'll give you a Zoom tutorial after this, shall we?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So welcome, my friend. I'm going to.
Much for having me.
Oh, so great to have you. I'm going to start this off by saying that this is Mark Carlson coming in from Thailand, so it's his Wednesday morning. And prior to me giving the formal bio, I will be upfront and transparent to say that we've known each other for a little while, a long time, many, many years.
Yeah.
We go way back.
Way back, a long time. It's about 91, was it? 91, 92?
Yeah, right about that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't we look fabulous?
You too. Oh, yes, we do. Yes, we do. We do. We really do. We're
We
doing
do.
all right, girl.
We are. We are. So I'm going to give you your formal introduction now, just so the listeners and the viewers can get a little taste of who you are. So this is Mark
Okay.
Carlson. And as I mentioned, he's coming in from Thailand, originally from the United Kingdom, from England. And that's hence the beautiful accent that we're getting. And Mark Carlson is a spiritual life coach, a seminar leader, a healer, a guide, and a mentor, and just an all-around really cool guy to know.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So Mark has been involved in the personal and spiritual development for about 30 years or so. I'm pretty sure we were within the same realm when it all started to birth for both of us, right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah. He is the founder and the director of the Merlin Trinity Healing System, which now has teachers in Australia, India, Thailand, Hong Kong, Kuala Lumpur, the United Arab Emirates, parts of Europe, and even in North America. So that's a pretty broad stretch. That's that's amazing.
Yeah, it's great. And it's taking off little bit. It's starting to really move now, which is a great thing because it's a system that's based in love, really. And that's the thing we need. I think more than anything right now, especially.
Yeah. Actually, that leads right into a question that I had for you, because also in your bio, you talk about everything in life being energy, and love being the highest form, of course, and that the more we can align with energy in our life, the more that we can transform. And so I wondered if you would speak just a little bit about that, like how you came to that realization, and, have you got it mastered in all areas of your life?
Oh, absolutely not. And I absolutely not. And yet life's a lot easier. The more personal and spiritual development I've done, of course, life gets easier. But in the same sentence, I'd have to say that life also gives me bigger challenges, because the psyche, once it knows that I'm working with something and that I have a particular arsenal of experience and tools to use, then it brings more challenges or adventures, let's put it that way, my way. And that's I think the greatest thing to recognize is that let's say a different way, the most transformational way of experiencing myself has been to recognize that there isn't an outside from my own personal point of view. It just doesn't exist. That, of course, space and time exist. There are people outside of me, and life is going on outside of me. But my entire life experience is an internal experience. So everything I see happens inside of me: hear, taste, smell, feel. There's nothing that I actually know that happens outside of me, nothing, because the entire everything happens within me. Now, if I recognize that, then I can really see that I'm the only thing happening that I know of. I mean, yes, of course, everything is going on around me, but from my own personal point of view, I'm the only thing happening. So I am the only person or thing that can make anything different, because I'm the only thing going on. I experience you within me, and you couldn't be there if you weren't happening because of some aspect of me, because you go on inside of me from my point of view. So by definition, anything that's inside of me must be me. Otherwise, it wouldn't be inside of me. I couldn't say something's inside of me that's not me. It might be an alien, but it's still inside of me. And
because you have an interpretation and awareness of it? Is that?
And the everything that I think everything is happens from my interpretation or from my point of view. It happens as an internal experience.
Right.
So I am the everything that I think everything is. Now, what's great about that is that I can change things then, because I'm recognizing if something comes into my field that I don't like, then I can look and say, well, if that was me, and I'm presuming it is me because it's going on inside of me, then why is that in front of me, and why am I having that experience? Now, the immature consciousness within me will say it's them, not me. If it's a problem, it's that, it's not me. But the mature consciousness will recognize that that's only there because I have the energy that it represents already within me.
So
And when
you're pulling it to you because of where you're sitting in your own energy field or your consciousness, that sort of thing.
Exactly, that's
Okay.
exactly it. And that also gets me to realize how powerful I am, that I can bring a whole person, a whole physical person out of the ether to come and push my buttons. How powerful am I to do that? You know, and if I can see it as a means to help me expand, then that perception change is transformational, because it's only ever there to help me. Only. And now I don't need to like the people or situations that I don't like, but I do need to own them. I need to look and say, okay, and as I change my field inside, or the vibration that I'm coming from, then the outside changes. Either the person will change dramatically or they'll drop away because I don't need the experience anymore.
Right. So you've healed or expanded that box you have around that particular thing. It's now bigger, or your
That's
awareness,
exactly,
your consciousness, your vibration has grown. And so that thing no longer is vibrating with you. Is that?
That's exactly right. And essentially what I'm doing is I'm taking the conscious part of me and enlightening the unconscious part of me. What enlightenment is, the little part of me that has a light is shining it to the unconscious. And the way that works is because I wouldn't do the work. None of us would do the work. We wouldn't sit down in a cave and for hours to find the stuff we don't like. We just wouldn't do it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So the way the psyche gets me to expand is by bringing everything that I am in front of me, including all the beautiful things.
Right.
You know, so it's not just the stuff, but the, you know, Carl Jung said, I'm paraphrasing, but Carl Jung said something like, enlightenment isn't chasing love and light, it's embracing the darkness. And that's what it is, because that's the very area we don't want to look at. That's the greatest expansion. Right. So my guidance system, it works in its most obvious fashion. So I can look at dreams, for example. So dreams are a portal to, they're the greatest guidance system. Again, Carl Jung said, if you don't look at your dreams, it's like getting the most important letter and never opening it.
Oh, right.
But the easiest way to follow my guidance system is to simply look at what I've created that I don't like. And the two areas in this physical realm are money and love. Right. Those are the two big ones. That's where you'll get your big challenges, because we need money and we absolutely crave love because we originate from love. Right. And those are the two areas where it shows up.
The most, absolutely.
And that's where because it shows up there, I have to look at it. But if I look at that and say, wow, of all the experiences I could be having, I'm having this one and it's in my face, so let's deal with it.
Right. So that's I absolutely vibrate with what you're saying. But how would you approach, and maybe this person wouldn't come into your field, but I know there are people out there who are really struggling right now with what we're going through, particularly around finances. And in my mind, I also see the financial being tied to self-love, right? They're not disconnected. But the people who are really struggling, they're not consciously looking at the darkness or looking at how I can expand beyond this, because there's a lot of fear going on. So what would your approach be there?
Well, first and foremost, they've got to recognize that they have the power to change it. Right. And that's the awakening journey that we're on, is to take full responsibility. You know, it's difficult if you're unaware of this path, but you've got to make a new reality more important than the current reality in the mind. I've followed Dr. Joe Dispenza quite a lot. I really like his work. He satisfied my left brain tremendously, because all of the things that, until I saw him about 5 or 6 years ago in London. And until then I'd thought of, I am going to get to the this is pertinent information, but so, until I went to see him, I would have honestly said that I'm wholeheartedly believing in visualization, meditation, spiritual work, taking responsibility. But I had a father, he bless his soul, he's passed now, that was completely disbelieving in this realm. and
Right.
everything had to be tangible. He's like an engineer. So of course, being brought up with a man like that, I had his energy strongly within me.
Right.
And I see its value now because he taught me some great things. Now, when I went to see Dr. Joe Dispenza, everything that Dr. Joe does is science now. He doesn't only speak a new age language, although he was trained from Ramtha, you know,
Right.
the channel Ramtha. He followed him for years.
Yeah.
But he's come out, and I think he's done an absolutely fantastic job of giving scientific proof how meditation is so incredibly powerful and beneficial to us, and why we must visualize.
Yeah.
And what he did is satisfied that left side of my brain, the
Right.
logical side that was in doubt of it. Even though I would have denied it before seeing him, I realized after seeing him that, gosh, there was a side of me that was still like my father, that
Yeah.
was, is that really, does it work? I'm not sure if it does.
Yeah.
And I think you've got to recognize that this work of visualization is imperative to your survival. Absolutely imperative. So he's proven that the energy, not just him, but quantum physics has proven that the field of energy around our body and the information in that field determines the way the physical body is, and also the what you experience in the material world.
Right.
So when you start putting new information into that field, it changes.
Yeah.
And so what you've got to do, first and foremost, meditation is important. Meditation is a technique to train you to be here. So
I just
essentially,
mentioned that just before I brought
did
you
you?
into here. Yeah, just talked about
Did you?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it's absolutely a powerful truth. So meditation, we are a point of consciousness in an infinite stream of consciousness. We're locked as one point of consciousness in the body.
Right.
And that one point of consciousness, when you align it with the infinite moment,
Right.
it actually opens everything that is everything.
Right.
But if you put your attention on what you think life is, which that's the software program that your tribe gave you,
Yep.
then all you ever see is the limitation of that tribal conditioning.
Yes.
So when I pull my attention off the thinking stuff and I align it with the moment, what happens is infinite potential is available to me. And that's the place I need to visualize from.
Right.
I need to be present when I visualize. Otherwise I'm following the limitation of what I've been trained to think things are.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
go ahead.
I want to touch base on that, because that's what a little bit what I also talk about is that when you come from the box that you have, the reality that you're aware, you don't have anything outside of that. But sometimes when you are meditating and you are very present and open, you allow ideas and inspiration and information
That's
that
it.
you've never heard or thought of, or it's new, but you don't get it if you're not present. You miss it.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And also you drop the physical. You drop it when you're really present. There isn't a physical anymore. I don't know if you've ever experienced, well, that you can have that in meditate. The quick way to get it is to go and have a flotation experience.
Yes.
You know, the flotation tanks. That often does it for me a lot easier and quicker than the meditation. But I feel meditation is essential for creating a new reality, because you've got to come out of this moment. And right now, there's so much fear that's being perpetrated around the planet for whatever reason. Won't go into that detail, but so it's imperative that a person starts to see a new reality.
Yes.
And what's absolutely vital is that you must have an excited emotion around the new reality. So let's imagine that you need an extra $1,000 a month, or extra $2,000 a month. Then your visualization would be, how would I be if I had the 2,000? And then you experience what that would be, especially at the feeling level.
Yes.
And the next key point is that it has to be every day, because you think the other stuff every day, all the time,
All the
not
time.
just for half an hour,
Yeah.
the entire day. You're thinking the other stuff. You're so up there in your thoughts about everything.
Yeah.
So it's imperative that you train the new you and the new part of you to see it. So I write my goals every day. I never miss. I write them every single day, over and over and over,
Oh.
so that I'm training my unconscious. I do my meditation. I mean, I'm in this field, so it's important that I walk my talk. I think it's very important. I can't teach other people if I'm not doing it.
Right.
So I meditate for quite a long time now, but to start with, it can be 5 minutes as long as you do it, because you don't want to put yourself off by thinking, I tried that for half an hour, my back's aching and
Yeah.
my mind was all over the place. And then you say, I can't do that, and I'm not going to go any further. So I recommend starting with just 5 minutes and do it for a week and then increase it to 6 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's nice and easy and gentle, because you're training yourself to do something that you want to be doing for the rest of your life. So there's no rush.
No.
No rush. The mind wants, I want to be a guru tomorrow,
Yeah.
So this is an ongoing, progressive, organic experience of learning about yourself with meditation. Go ahead. Sorry.
The other thing I like to talk about around that is two things: busting the myths. So there's again, the box that particularly in the Western culture we put around meditation, where you have to be sitting on the same cushion. It has to be with your spine super straight. You have to wear the right clothes or burn the right candles. Like there's all these concepts we have built around it. And I really like to encourage people to find whatever works for them. It can be maybe different each day as well, like really letting go of what it's supposed to look like and understanding that Monday might be nice and calm, but Tuesday is hell in your mind. And that's okay, because you're just learning to observe, just learning to watch and witness.
That's
right?
it. That's a great point. And to add to that, I think that if you're a beginning meditator, the most important thing is showing up.
Yes.
To start with, that's it. Just get yourself there. Didn't do very well, but I'll do it tomorrow. Grab hold of the back of your head next morning, pull yourself up. I'm just going to do it anyway, because they say it's good for me. Because at first you might not experience, you might not get any experience until you get that one point where you think, wow, that was so good. I disappeared,
Yeah.
Going on with it, I do think that it's important that you sit with meditation so the energy can flow through the spine. So some people say, can I lay down and meditate? I'll always say no to that, because that for me would be a healing.
Okay.
And not that it's not okay, it's great.
Yeah.
Where you're laying down, staying conscious, maybe energy's flowing more powerfully because you're staying conscious. But it's not meditation, because the point of meditation is to stay as conscious as you want. So again, for me, getting a guided meditation that takes you on a beautiful lake and everything's peaceful and tranquil music, it's great if you want to de-stress. But if you want to be the spiritual warrior, if you want to activate the spiritual warrior within yourself, this is a training where when you go into meditation, you're not doing it to get the tick on the box. You're doing it because you're training your mind to come off this ridiculous story that you've got going up here. And you're training yourself to come back. So, even if when you're in meditation, you get the most beautiful, inspired thought of a new idea and something exciting, you might want to open your eyes, quickly write it down if you think you'll forget, but then get back off the story and on the end of your nose, check out your senses. Where am I? What does it feel like having my feet where they are? What am I tasting? What's my experience of being a human being right now? And as you said earlier, quite clearly, observation is the point. So we're not using the mind, we're just looking, and we're developing the muscle of what they call the observer. And it's when I first heard that, I was thinking about it. I couldn't distinguish the difference between a thought about it or being able to just look and observe myself. It takes time and practice to develop that thing within me that is able to look at the thoughts, at the emotions, and at the physical. But it's the greatest gift of self-love you could ever, in my opinion, that you could ever give yourself, because you're taking your attention off the material world. So another way of looking at it, the mental part of life is masculine, and it represents the outside world, the majority of it. You can use your thoughts to look at your inside world, but generally it represents the outside world, and it's a masculine aspect of me.
It's
the
active.
Feminine part
It's active.
It's active, and it's masculine in its gender, in its not gender, in its energy form. So it would be the yang of the yin and the yang. Now the heart is the yin, the feminine, and it's happening now. My heart's beating now, and my heart chakra, which is a central chakra, is also happening now. It's the most important chakra, but only because the other chakras exist. It has no importance if the others are not there.
Right.
But in terms of the 7 chakras, the central chakra, this is the central control room. It should be.
Yeah.
But we're up here, so we
Yeah.
don't know who we are. So that's why meditation is so powerful, because it gives me the opportunity to find out who I am, other than what my parents and my tribe told me I am.
Right.
And when I do that,
collectively, we're all going
absolutely,
through that right now. It's in a very large and quick way.
it's an incredible time, and there's lots of conspiracy theories and lots of arguments. But if we were to look from the heart, certainly for me, life slowed down, because it did slow down out there, and I'm part of that collection of people that everything slowed down. And the answer is to get to love, which is what we started with, Heather. The answer is to come back inside and say, the only thing that's actually going on is my experience of anything. That's the only thing that's ever happening. And if I can bring love into my experience, then my world will change.
Right.
It will change. And I've got to get back to love. That's my daily work. And some days it won't be easy. Some days I might be, especially as for a beginner, I might be in fear. How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to? I think it's also important to recognize that we are one, we are connected. So that the point of consciousness that exists, that I call me, trapped inside of this body, is part of the everything that is everything.
Right.
And it cannot die, this, because it's life. So life by definition couldn't die, otherwise it wouldn't be life. Right. So I've got to recognize that part of me that's the truth, the point of consciousness. It cannot die. Yes, I will drop the body, and thank God, because I wouldn't want to be stuck in this. That's why it's a temporary experience. I come here to experience manifestation, essentially, because where we're from, it's instant manifestation. So in this realm, I get to see the process of beginning and end and everything in between it, including the physical body, including my understanding of life here until it dies. So that's an unbelievably fantastic experience, but it wants to be temporary. I don't want anyone to tell me that you can live forever. I don't want to. I already know that I live forever, and I want different experiences. I have this analogy that when we go back, we're all with our mates up there and go, wow, can you see what happened? That time when you punched me in the face and and so what are we going to do this time? Let's open the menu. Okay, I'm going to be a woman this time, and I'm going, because this is an unbelievable experience of physical reality, but we are so blind to that purposefully. Otherwise we wouldn't have the experience of it if it was easy to see it. So we're completely blind to the truth, and we think that the physical is all that it is, but it's not at all. And we do come here again and again and again, have different experiences. And I think that the elephant in the room right now, I mean, it's always been here, it's a massive elephant as well, is that we have an unprecedented opportunity to love each other, to drop the walls of separation and start working from a consciousness that has a foundation of love. We've never done it. We are all so afraid of each other because we operate here, which is political. It's either this or it's that. Right. Now, have you ever known politics to work? No, it might, it doesn't, because there's always a fight. It doesn't matter who's in. There's always, and look how they lie to each other. I mean, it's unbelievably pathetic.
Yeah.
They lie and manipulate and cheat. But that's what the mind does, you see.
That's what the mind does. So the question I want to put on the table then, and this is something that I think about often, is the more of us who come online with meditation and visualization and aligning with love, it in the individual spark of consciousness, it has to impact the whole. And so the true work is for more and more of us to come online with it, right? And that's when we will start to see the shift in the external. And I do think it's happening.
It is. There's no doubt about it. It's you've got to think positively, haven't you? I'm afraid of a draconian type of government. That's what frightens me at the moment. But when I come back to my individual self, if it is that I need to not have that experience and I need to leave, then okay, if that would be the worst thing that would happen.
Yeah.
But I have a real belief that consciousness is waking up. If you look at the Buddhists talk about if you want a glass of clean water, you have to pour the dirty water out first. And so if let's look at the collective experience right now. So there's my individual state of consciousness and what I create. Yeah. But then if we look at the race, we are one race. Yes. We're humans. Yes. Some people say there are other beings here, but let's just imagine that there's
keep simple for tonight.
Let's just keep our sanity. So there's one race, and that one race that is human has a collection of consciousness, one collection of consciousness. The human consciousness is one. So if we look at anything on the planet, it's contained within that one consciousness. Right. So that means that experiencing itself. Now, this part of the one consciousness at the moment doesn't think it's part of that part.
Right. We're separate.
We're all different, and we're all separate. That's why we come in different skin colors, with different languages, with different beliefs, with different ideals, and different religious beliefs and different political views and all of that stuff to give us this incredible experience of separation. But the one consciousness has a virus.
Right.
It's an undeniable truth. I can't say it. No, it doesn't. Only that side does. Now, even if there isn't a virus, some people say it's not a real virus. Let's forget all of that. We're experiencing a virus on the planet, right? So that is a big, massive virus that has been in our unconscious, making us be afraid of each other. That's what, look what's happening. We're being told to be separate from each other and be afraid of each other. That's just the conscious the opportunity of a virus within the unconscious to be brought conscious. Right. So we're getting to see what the collection thinks of itself. And that's, and so that hopefully we let that go.
Yes.
We let that go, and we come from a place that says, for the first time in the history of humanity, let's have a foundation based in love. So the only debate has to be one that says the other person feels loved and respected.
Right.
Beautiful. And if that's not the case, we haven't found a solution yet.
No, we have more work to do.
Or the other person. Okay? Because otherwise we go back to politics, which doesn't work. Because it's okay for some and not for others, always in politics. So we've got to come from a place that's founded in love, that says humanity needs to be looked at for its survival now.
Right. Yes.
Really, we need to look at our race and say, let's thrive. So let's look at the other cultures, drop the walls and say, I'm going to give you the best of ours. You give us the best of yours, instead of judging each other for having different views. Let's forgive each other. Now, for that to happen, Heather, I've got to love me first, because I can't all of a sudden say, right, I'm going to start loving the Republicans or the Democrats or the Labour or the Conservative, whatever you're on. It doesn't matter, or the Christians or the Muslims. If you've got stuff going on, if you've got your story that's based in a tribal view that hates the other side, you've got to do your individual work of loving self first before you can be compassionate. That's imperative. That's why this journey of discovering self, of doing this work to enlighten self, is imperative. It's absolutely imperative. And I've got to come back to love. And, as I said earlier, I don't have it all together. When I'm driving in Thailand, sometimes the healer completely disappears. And
I can hear the language now.
That's the case with lots of things that I believe in as well. Sometimes I still get angry and upset about stuff, but essentially, the more work I do, the quicker it takes me to get back. Okay, what's that about? Why am I upset there? Because there's nothing going on out there. It's about where you've put your attention and what you've allowed your mind to go to, right? What you're being mindful of, right? That's it. And a great question I ask myself regularly is, what would love do in this situation? I've got to get back to, so here's a great point, I think, Heather, is that if to make me feel good, I'll start again. Life is good for me when I feel good. It's got nothing to do with what's going on. Sometimes
Right.
it is if I get a brand new Mercedes or something like that. So if I win a Mercedes, I'll feel great because of
Yeah.
that external thing, right?
Right.
But essentially in life,
Temporary. Yeah.
that's temporary. But so what I want to do is I want to work on making my internal world feel good as regularly as I can, because when I feel good regularly enough, it has no other option than to come back feeling good. So
Right.
if you're stuck about money, what am I going to do to feel good around the problem that I have here? And
Right.
here's the answer. Now, you can love me until the cows come home, but if I don't know what love is, if
Right.
I don't have the feeling or experience of love, it won't make any difference. I can have 20 people loving me,
Right.
50 people loving me, millions if I'm a celebrity loving me. But if I don't know what love is, then it will not make any difference to anything.
Right.
So getting someone to love me, which
Yes.
millions are running around the planet trying to make that happen. Please
Yeah.
love me, I
Yeah.
need to find the right one. And if I found the right one, you need to love me, So
Yeah.
that's not the answer. I've got to take responsibility. The answer is I've got to look at something that will always make me feel good. And
Right.
here is the answer. It's simple, but it really is the answer. So when I am kind or loving or giving, I'll always feel good, guaranteed. I'm not being kind to get your approval, but
Right.
when I'm genuinely kind or loving,
Yeah.
I'll feel good. Now that can be cleaning my desk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? No, that
Yeah.
can be cleaning my space. That can be
Yeah.
picking up some rubbish instead of leaving it for somebody else. That
Yeah.
can be smiling at somebody on the street,
Yeah.
even if they don't smile back, opening the door, even if they don't open
Yeah.
the door back, or even if they don't say thank you. It can be giving a gift of any form that you can give. But if you start putting your attention, as you said earlier, on what is the loving part of me, who am I if I'm love,
Right.
then I raise my vibration so quickly, and with time that becomes the norm, and life starts to love me back. It has no option. And so
Right.
life is my barometer of my unconscious.
Of
My
the
unconscious
internal. Yeah.
It's my unconscious internal. The outside goes, this is how you're doing. And when you start doing this more often, your ability to trust also gets stronger and stronger,
Right.
because
Yeah.
I'm in my birthday month this year. And so for all of
Oh,
these
yes.
for all of these years up until now, whether I liked it or not, I got to this point. I'm okay. I've
Yeah.
got all of those years of experience
Yes, you do.
to say, excuse me,
Yes,
to
you do.
say,
Yes, yes, yes.
to say that it's okay. It's always going to be okay. No matter what goes on,
Yeah.
it's going to be okay, because here I am sitting here. There's nothing, all of my authentic needs. Now, that's not unfortunately the case for everybody.
No.
But in my case, all of my authentic needs are always met. I always have enough air. I always have enough water, and I've always had enough food. In my experience, as I said, that's not the same for everybody. But
No.
if you're watching this on a phone or a computer,
Yeah.
then you're in the minority in actual fact, but your authentic needs are
Right.
always met. And the more you trust that,
Right.
the more they get better and better and better
Right.
and better,
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. So what
Awesome.
would love do right
Yeah.
now is a great question to ask forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to touch on something that I've been playing with a little bit lately and actually seeing rapidly. And that is when the moments of inspiration or those little knocks on the soul to take a particular action, if I don't do it right away or within the flow, what I've noticed is that idea just moves to the next person. And they are right. Suddenly it's happening around me, but it didn't come through me because I was up in my head or I got busy or I ignored it or whatever it is. And to me, that just reiterates the power of our collective consciousness, like consciousness experiencing itself through each and every one of us. And so it's not that I use that to give myself permission to not take action. In fact, I use that as a tool to try to move myself a little bit more in the flow, as opposed to, well, I'll do that later, which is a habit that I have, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's a great point, and I absolutely wholeheartedly agree. And the thing to do is, some opportunities come and we don't take them, and it's no fault of our own. We've got our stuff going on, and for whatever reason, we don't take them. Um, but opportunities are abound. They
Mm.
will never stop coming because you're a creative being. So my point here is, when you miss, let's call it a missed opportunity, you must be loving with yourself and say, oh,
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
great.
Yeah.
That's okay. I missed that one, but the whole experience is teaching me about my intuition.
Yes.
You know, it's showing me, oh wow, I didn't realize, and look what's happened. And
Yeah.
but I'm a great believer in, Byron Katie says, how do we know it's supposed to be this way? Because it is this way.
Because it is.
So yeah, so if I missed the opportunity, how do I know I was supposed to miss it? Because I missed it.
Yeah.
And so therefore it wasn't an opportunity missed. It was
Right.
something that wasn't for me.
Yeah. But it's
Must
also
be.
interesting to me to see that same thing then come through someone else.
I think it's great, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Because it does
It's
take some pressure
phenomenal.
off yourself as well. Like it's,
Yeah.
it
And
is
then
what it is.
maybe, do you think then that maybe it's not for you? That's the way I would look at it. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
that was a great, I got that idea, but it wasn't the right time for me, or it's not for me. But look, there it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And so maybe
It's
you were
still
just
here in
tapping
the
into the
world.
energy that was coming through,
Yeah. Yeah.
which means you're more in alignment. I think it's a great for you to see that, wow, I'm in the flow because I'm hearing this stuff.
Right.
And some of the stuff, I think, like you said, you'll think, yeah, I really need to do that. That feels so good. I think for me, if I get excited and scared in the same time, I know I'm onto something,
Yep.
because that really excites me, and it frightens me because it takes me out of my comfort zone. Then
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
onto something there. It's something that's definitely for me.
Yeah. Yep. Awesome. Okay, so I think we should wrap this up soon, but I would like to just give you a minute to talk about the Merlin Trinity Healing System, like the work that you do. I think you've kind
Yeah.
of tapped it on the head here, but if you want to sum it up a little bit for anyone who's interested.
Well, it's a healing system. It's a hands-on healing system that that uses the power of love and energy. It's called the Merlin Trinity healing system because I met a guy that channeled Merlin.
Right.
And he would close his eyes and stand like this and talk. And over a couple of years period, I got introduced to the feeling of Merlin. It was just these blue little lights. So I called it Merlin. But to be honest, I don't know if it really was Merlin. The guy called himself Merlin. It was great information. The energy was great. So it's got nothing to do with Merlin per se, in that it was termed that way just because it came via him. The feeling of him years later came to me, and then I got the first symbol. But it's something that I tried to drop. It came about 25 years ago, and I tried to drop it many times because it was hard work slogging around the planet teaching people. And I didn't have the resources or the intuition or the understanding of following up with people. So I would teach them, take their money, and then not follow up with them.
Right.
I can see that clearly now. I just didn't have the business understanding.
Right.
And looking back, it was a means to making money, even though the energy was lots of great feedback and I could feel it. It was great. But what happened was about 2.5 years ago, I'd been suffering with chronic psoriasis for 6 years. So much so that I remember crying with my mom on the phone saying, I can't live my life like this. It was so bad all over my body. And I did everything. And one of the things I also did was I started using the Merlin Trinity Healing System on myself. And everything started getting better. My skin is completely cleared up. But I've got to say, I went vegan. I don't drink alcohol. I stopped wheat. I stopped all meat, as I said. And I did lots of releasing anger. I met many healers. So I can't specifically say authentically that it was definitely Merlin Trinity. But what I can say is by doing I'd never done it every day for longer than a couple of months. And I haven't missed a day now for 2.5 years, 3 years. And my life's changed because of it. My awareness, everything's transforming quickly. And it's due to the energy. And so I reintroduced it a couple of years ago. And that's why it's here today. It's very powerful. If I were to sum it up, I would say it's a modality that works on transformation, real transformation, and quickly. Somebody described it in terms of Reiki. The greatest respect to Reiki. I love Reiki, so it's not in competition in any way. And lots of my the people that I teach the Merlin to have other different healing modalities, and I'm all for it. I think, yes, anything that you can use. Reiki seems more feminine and softer, whereas this seems more, it would be like the Moldavite stone in that it goes in and it rocks things up. And somebody described it as more appropriate for modern day living. I don't know if that's true. I do know that it does seem more powerful in that it transforms things quicker than my experience of Reiki. I'm not saying that's the truth. That's only my experience. So I don't want to, but because, you know, the real Reiki masters, they take 7 years for that training. So I have the greatest respect for those Reiki masters, the greatest respect. And I think it's an amazing modality. And this is another one, and it fits for some people and not for others, you know. So on Saturday, I've got in your time zone, it might not be okay, but at 5 p.m. in Thailand on Saturday, I have a healing attunement that I'm doing via Zoom, where I'll guide people into a meditation, and then I'll bring in the energy. And I've got all my team, the people that are able to do that, we're going to do it with me. So we've practiced it a few times, and it's very powerful. So anybody that needs healing, physical, mental, or emotional, or would like balancing, or just to experience this energy, they can tap into that.
Great. How can they find out that or register or?
I've sent it onto your WhatsApp actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I will post that. Yep.
Okay. It's there.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I just wrote myself a note to do that. So awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And that's 5 p.m. on Saturday,
Thai time.
May
the 9th.
May the 9th. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. I will record it, but I don't know if the energy will still be able to, I'm not sure. I doubt it, but who knows? Miracles might happen. So I'll record it and make it available, and let's see if that energy can be transferred. I'm not sure.
Okay.
It'd be better if you can be there live.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So any last thing you'd like to say about that before I ask you your questions?
No, I think,
we've
doing
covered
anything,
a lot.
We have. I think just doing anything to recognize, how can I come back to love? I think that's the way home. I think any area of life that's not working is a lack of love in that area. And I'm the only one that can change that.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. I hope you prepared your answers.
Yes.
I think you've already answered number one. Your number one tool or technique that you practice every day to keep yourself in balance. I think we've probably nailed that on the head.
Meditate. Absolutely. Yeah. It's key to everything as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
What is the one habit that you struggle with the most or find it hard to be consistent with?
It's definitely scheduling my time the day before. When I schedule my time, I get way more done. Yes. Way more. And yet I procrastinate around scheduling my time.
Amazing.
And then those days I end up reacting to what comes at me instead of getting on with my important projects. So that's something that I still, I'm very disciplined in certain areas, like going to the gym and meditation and stuff, very disciplined, like anally. But when it comes to this, so there's a pattern within me that is resisting the success that the project completion would bring. That's how I see it.
I'm just loving that part. I'm not alone on that.
Yeah, I think there's a few more of us as well.
Yeah, it is. It's a hard one. Yeah.
It is. And I think I do think it's related to a deep-seated pattern that's saying not loving me enough yet in that area. For me, it is. But, it's an ongoing process, and I just need to keep doing this. It's okay, buddy.
It's okay.
We'll do it. We'll do it.
There's always tomorrow.
Yeah. I try not to say that. I try to say, it's okay. It's going to happen, Yeah. And it is. I mean, it's not that I don't do it ever. It's just that it's a simple thing to spend 5 minutes scheduling tomorrow and still.
I know for me, and this might be a little bit different for you, for the masculine and the feminine, for females, we have a monthly cycle. And so for me, I really recognize my flow with the cycle as it flows with my organization and scheduling to, so I got a better excuse, I guess, but it's everything in life is cyclical. And so that's how I pat myself. It's not an excuse. It's just to acknowledge the moon is changing, my body's changing, my hormones are changing. Here's where I'm at now. And there's times when I'm fire energy and I'm there. And then there's other times where I'm inward energy.
But I think that's lovely as well, Heather. If you can create and produce whilst in that flow, and know that at this particular time, it's not the time for production. It's the time for introversion and healing myself. I think that's more important than having a, like the corporate world, the calendar that we use, what's it called? The Gregorian calendar that we use is so far away from our cycle. Whereas the Mayan calendar that knows that we're in flow, we're in this energy at this particular time. This is the sort of things we want to be embracing. And I think that obviously you can't, if you're in the corporate world, you have to go to work on Monday and you've got to do it that. But if you can listen to your body, as you say, especially for women, apparently we have periods as well, energetically. We have the cycles, but not as intense. And men have got this escape. They just jump into their head. They're just basically walking heads, really. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, until the root chakra is activated, of course, and then they move their operational center down for a few minutes.
Yeah. No, my husband has talked about that as well, just the cycle.
Really?
And awareness and acknowledgement, and for him, very tied to the moon and the different cycles.
Well, I think it's great that men can recognize that. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, really.
And then I get into my female head. Well, it's not the same as what we go through. Sorry.
That's your masculine when you do that. That's not your feminine. That's your masculine, because you're in competition. You're bringing the man forward there.
Right.
So he goes into his feminine and you go, no.
You got to keep the balance in the house.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, next question. So you are sitting with yourself 5 years ago. You're 5 years in the past. What is the one piece of advice you would give to yourself?
So I'm going back to myself 5 years ago.
You're here, and then pretend my window is you 5 years ago. What piece of advice you're going to give yourself?
I would say that everything is working out perfectly. You don't have to worry. You just drop into the moment and trust the process, because everything is okay. And just do your daily work. We didn't talk about this, but it's the daily work that has to happen. You can't just do it occasionally. You can't do it for 2 week spells. You've got to do it every day, no matter what this says. You grab the back of your head one more time, dude, because you're going to feel much better after it. And you've got to create that habit. That's what I'd say. Create the habit and trust it's going to be great. Don't worry. Don't think about the future too much. Don't. Just focus on enjoying this right now.
Beautiful. Love it. What are you reading right now?
At the moment, I listen to books, but at the moment I have one book of personal or spiritual development, and then I go into a novel. And I'm at the moment reading listening to A Crown of Thorns and Roses by Sarah Maas. Oh, it's so good.
It's good?
It's so good. It's based on Beauty and the Beast. So it's fairies and pukas and nagas and magic, and it's brilliant. I love that sort of stuff. So I mean, it's leading feminine, so that it's all about the feminine. But she's a great author, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. But I did want to say the most transformational book that I read last year, and I hadn't had such a transformation reading a book for many years. So that's why I wanted to mention it. It's called "It Didn't Start With You" by Mark Wallin. Incredible. This is absolutely life-changing for me. It was absolutely life-changing. It's based on family constellations work by Bert Hellinger, or Hillinger. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. He talks about that there are so many aspects in the psyche that are affecting you today. So he talked, for example, I'll give you one example. There was a 19-year-old guy that all of a sudden felt cold all the time, couldn't sleep, was in absolute terror, had no idea. And when they traced back 2 generations before, some relative had died in the snow, in the ice at 19-year-old. Wow. And it was absolutely affecting. When he realized that, everything changed. Now, he goes into detail. I mean, I had so many pops, and life changed for me after that book. It was so good, so good. And that's after all these years of work. I really recommend it. Okay. It Didn't Start With You by Mark Wallin, Wollynn.
Okay, perfect. I've written that one down. Great. That's on my list.
Really recommend it. Really recommend it. Yeah.
Awesome.
You're welcome.
All right. And then just to close, let people know where they can find you, website, social media, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, www.your-spiritual-life-coach
Hyphen.
no hyphen dot coach. Is it your hyphen spiritual hyphen coach.com?
I'm going to type it in the text, so don't
Okay,
worry.
great. And I've got a Facebook group, You Are the Opportunity, you've been looking for, where I'm posting videos and this sort of stuff. And also I have a YouTube channel. I think you have it. Yeah.
Yep.
So
I have your YouTube and also part of your Facebook group. So
great. Okay.
yeah.
Great.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And
it's been, I feel really honored that you thought of me and you've brought me on, Heather. It's really, really, really touched me. So thank you so much for bringing me on. You're looking amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Thank
Keep
you.
doing what you're doing.
Beautiful sunny day today. So I got full of vitamin D and we went and played in the river.
Oh, great. Still a bit hot to do that here. It's already 32 degrees. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, whatever it is, 9 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
That's pretty hot.
But that's nice, isn't it? It's spring over there, isn't it?
We're in spring. Yeah. And we've had some lovely weather. We've been very lucky, and the garden's growing and everything's green. And
brilliant. And I hope the lockdown, is it opening? Are things opening for you now?
Somewhat. No, it's very, very slow. It's happening more in the east, and Ontario and Quebec, I think, are starting. And BC out here on the west coast, we're a little bit slower, a little bit just watching and seeing how things go. But
isn't that the norm in the psyche as well?
Exactly. West Coast. There we go. Yeah.
But that's great.
And how about in Thailand? What's happening
there?
Yeah,
it's starting to open. I mean, the lockdown wasn't as severe as other places. You couldn't go out from 10 p.m. till 4 a.m., which was no big deal anyway for me. And but we've always had to wear a mask outside. In every store that we go in, we get our temperature taken, and they give us the alcohol. So that's been from day one out here. But the Asians are used to wearing masks. So the Asians wear a mask when they have a cold to protect other people. It's a normal thing here. So when you have a cold, as a way of being polite to the world, they wear a mask.
Okay.
So it's normal. But I don't like wearing it, or I don't wear it often, but I love to get it off when I'm back in my car. So it's been but it is opening now. I think that the supermarkets are opening, the small shops are able to open, restaurants are not open yet, but we can go into you can get your hair cut and stuff like that. So some things are starting to open.
Okay, our hairdressers aren't open yet.
Aren't they? Well, no, I'm going to have to go soon. But I'm taking my daughter later today. She's been off school for a long time, but there's summer holidays here anyway. So the poor things missed her. We were supposed to go to England and couldn't because. Anyway, I'm taking it to get her nails done today, so that's obviously open. She's sorry.
Are you going to get a buff while she's there, or?
I'm definitely not, but I might go and get my hair cut. If
Perfect.
It's open. Yeah.
Awesome. Great. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you too, Heather. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Take care. We'll be in touch.
Okay. I'm going to let you leave the meeting. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Did I do that myself? Do I?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Awesome. So that was Mark Carlson from Thailand. Wonderful human being. And as you can see, he has a lot of depth to his knowledge and his life experience. He has a lot to offer. So I will post information along with this video about his session at 5 p.m. on Saturday in Thailand. I'm not sure what time that is here. If I can join in, I will. And again, thank you so much for watching or listening. And if you have any comments or any suggestions for what you'd like to see here, or any questions for myself or for Mark, please post them or email them, and we will definitely get answers for you. Thanks so much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your morning, day, evening, whatever it is for you. Bye for now.